Hey everybody, my name is Kathryn Kauffman and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. So this is a live streamed show that I do every Monday night where me and everybody who's watching get to discuss some really interesting topics. We discuss anything from life after death to black-eyed children, all types of paranormal activity and topics. And if you like these shows and you would like to see the past shows, these are all logged on my YouTube channel. And you can go and watch the past episodes there anytime you like. So let me do some shout outs to some people that are joining us this evening. Hey Paige, hey to Cynthia and Shelly and Connie. Nice to see you guys come out for Monday Night Live. And hey to Melissa Begley, and special shout out to Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo is a special friend of Melissa's, and I just love her to pieces. Hey Kyla, hey Danae. So tonight's topic is a really controversial one. It's this part of the Alien series that I'm doing. So this is part 3 of the Alien series, Abductions and the Alien Agenda. So hey Marguerite, I was doing my research on this, and the more I did my research on this, the more in-depth it got, and I'm really not sure we can cover all this stuff in just one episode. Hey Diana. So now if you guys have any kind of questions, as you know, just put your question in the comments section. If I don't get to it in the live stream, all of my fans and clients know that I will get to their comment and answer it after the live stream is over. So don't think that the questions end when the live stream ends, because it doesn't. I will go back and answer every single question that I get. So the first thing I want to go over tonight are abductions. Now, the last show we went over characteristics of an abduction. So if you want to if you missed out on that, you want to know more about what are the characteristics of an abduction or an alien encounter, go back to last week's episode on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link in the comment section so you can watch it. But there are certain characteristics of an alien encounter, or aka abduction, and we're going to go over that here tonight. But surprisingly enough, only 3 to 4% of abductees do not remember, or 3 to 4% of abductees remember what happened to them. The rest of the percentage absolutely does not recall, except under hypnosis maybe. So the majority of abductees do not remember what has happened to them. It's only a small percentage that do. So hey Sabrina, but anyway, out of this 3 to 4%, another majority are experiencing massive trauma in conjunction with their abductions. So what that means is they may not necessarily remember the abduction, but they're going to have massive trauma in their life. Their personality will suddenly change. You're going to go from being a really happy-go-lucky person to extremely depressed and like almost paranoid for no apparent reason, and that's through investigation and maybe regression therapy through hypnotherapy that the people find out what is behind this major life change that's happened. Okay, so moving right along, let's see what we have here. A lot of the abductees that do remember or do recall what has happened to them are also experiencing symptoms of feeling like their mind is being controlled, and that disaster images are being forced into their minds by artificial means, like seeing loved ones being tortured if they do not cooperate, seeing what appears to be clones of themselves, being forced to be held hostage, hybrid children being held hostage, they themselves being forced into submitting to painful experimentations, even being given a deadly disease for non-cooperation. So these are thoughts that people who recall being abducted feel like have been implanted into their mind. Hey Jennifer, hey Judy, hey Ricky, oh I'm behind. Hey Floriana, how are you doing this evening? Thanks everybody for joining me. Thank you Jennifer. This is one of my favorite lipsticks that I gave a shout out to on a previous show. It is Thrive by Cosmetics, and I just absolutely love that lipstick, so got to do another shout out even though I'm not getting paid for it. Okay, what I wanted to know was what's behind the abductions. Like, what is the alien agenda behind the abductions? Put a comment if you have an idea what you think the alien agenda is behind these abductions. But as far as, thanks for the hearts, as far as what I can tell, we're going to go over some possible reasons. Hey Chastity, some possible reasons behind these abductions for this alien agenda. Number one is population control and population culling or hybridization of our species. So our species has the ability to overcome infectious disease. We're very physically hardy and strong. So, and anybody who does any kind of breeding of stock knows that in order to get a better hybrid, you're going to interbreed the most beneficial qualities of each thing that you're looking for in the hopes of getting the end product correct, or the end product exactly how you want it. So that was like the number one possible reason for this. Number two possible reason was a genetic interbreeding program experimenting with DNA and actually changing the DNA to be genetically compatible with alien DNA so that they can co-inhabit our planet. So if, let's say, their physical makeup does not allow them to inhabit the planet as they are right now, what they would do is mutate the DNA using our DNA and accommodating their species in future generations to be able to inhabit this planet, which is kind of scary actually. Hey George, nice to see you George. So that was the number two possible reason. The number three possible reason I really didn't connect with because I just don't feel that it just doesn't resonate with me, but it may with you guys, so go ahead and go through it. And so number three was that they are in an alien demonic origin and are changing the DNA codes in an attempt to destroy our species or our soul essence. So the reason this doesn't resonate with me is my experience with demonic entities. They are not the same thing as the alien species. So I don't feel like those two really mesh up that well. But anyway, that was the number three possible reason. Hey Doreen, number reason is some abductees possess the ability to telepathically communicate and transcend dimensional walls. And once you transcend dimensional walls, then you kind of become a threat to the alien species or certain alien species, because then their agenda cannot be cloaked. Hey Amanda, not sure that that one resonates with me as well, but it may with some of you guys out here tonight. Number five possible reason is that humans are an energetic food supply. not so much as a physical food supply, but an energetic food supply, because we experience trauma, we experience pain and suffering, sadness, sexual response, anger, war. All of those things produce energy, produces an excess energy, mostly negative, but still is an excess energy that they can feed off of. So we actually sustain their energy, which that sort of resonated with me pretty highly. Now, here was one thing that really resonated with me was, regardless, it's one or a combination of several of the ideas suggested above, many of us find it hard to believe, is because they have our best interest at heart. That's why it's an abduction. So what they're saying is that during an abduction, you need to try to maintain control of your consciousness during that episode. Once you do that, what they're saying is that, and this is over 30 years of accumulated research, you guys, that someone did. Once you fight for your consciousness, you ultimately lose the pleasant screen, okay, and the pleasant view of your captors. And the pleasant screen, or the projected nicety of the situation, falls away, and then you can see the malevolent creatures and the malevolent situation that is really going on behind that pleasant screen. So a lot of people only discover this during hypnotic regression. And so the reason why we have to have some type of hypnotherapy to access these memories, somehow, some way, these memories are either too traumatic for us to remember, or the alien agenda is always cloaked, and so maybe that cloaking interaction pushes those memories back to the non-conscious mind. So that non-conscious mind stores the memory. It's there for access, but only through this regressive hypnotherapy. Okay, so let me see what else I've got here for you. So when you fight for your consciousness, that's when these pleasant screens fall away, and you can actually see the malevolent nature of what's going on and who's actually doing it. Hey, Kathy. Hey, two Kathys. Kathy Quillen Krajenke and Kathy Franklin. Nice to see you guys tonight. So that's why it's really important, if you ever have anything like this happen to you, the prime directive in your mind needs to be to fight for your consciousness and really focus on exactly what's happening to you and if it's a true situation or not. Many abductees who are experiencing malevolent stuff are usually, and this was interesting, are usually very spiritually enlightened or religiously oriented. Now, interestingly enough, abductees can religious persuasions. So it doesn't really, there's no single religious persuasion that has a higher incidence of abductees. It's kind of spread out all over the board. So that is something I found interesting, but the abductees who experienced a malevolent type of abduction were all pretty much spiritually elevated. And so that was really interesting. So, okay, let me make sure I'm going through the right topic here. Okay, we're getting into the alien agenda again. So a general pattern of the day of the abduction goes like this. So first is capture, second is the examination, third is like a conference or a meeting, fourth is like a visual or a tour of the ship, but only if that to me feels like the pleasant screen, and that may be cloaking something malevolent. Number 5 was the otherworldly journey, and that's feeling like a pleasant screen as well. Number 6 was theophany, which is the idea of like a. Number 7 is the return of the abductee, and number 8 is the aftermath that ensues after the abduction. The aftermath to me kind of represents maybe amnesia of the event, also the onset of the personality change and the depression and the paranoia that goes along with that. So then I got to looking at, there's another detailed description of what occurs during an abduction. This one was cited by the International Center for Abduction Research, and their path basic steps goes like this. Number 1, the removal of clothes. Number 2, the examination. Number 3, the mind scan or a deep telepathic probing of the abductee by the alien. Number 4, egg and sperm harvesting, normally through a mechanical means, and a lot of people will describe the machinery or the tools and instruments that are used during this process. Number 5 is a fetal implant and or extraction, and I've heard of this on several cases where a woman is several months pregnant, recounts an abduction, and suddenly is not pregnant, with no, no miscarriage, no fetal remnants, nothing to show that there was a baby there. And this has happened and is documented on several incidents. So that is extremely disturbing, because the cases are almost identical. Number 6 is being shown incubator, where fetuses are being contained within liquid-filled devices. Wow, I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. Number 7, the presentation of hybrid infants and hybrid children. Number 8, adult hybrids and personal project hybrids. Whew. Number 9, neurological procedures, like procedures on the brain. Envisioning and imaging was number 10. Number 11 is staging and acting out. Testing and training, miscellaneous, including being told, you will know what to do when the time comes. That kind of, to me, feels like pre-programming, or like they're programming us for something. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Danny. Yes, Tammy. You. Hey, Sandra. And we get in, when we start to go into transgenic engineering, this just gets bizarre. When it keeps going, it just gets more and more and more bizarre, because a lot of abductees report on their, visual memories of the ship. They report seeing containers of organs being grown in liquid. So, but you know what? I mean, we want, as our species wants to grow organs for transplantation to prevent rejection from happening, like growing your own organs. I mean, that's something that our species is looking into. So it sounds pretty horrifying, but it may not be. Okay, so it's a common belief that the 3 main focal points of the beings who are coming to Earth and who are carrying out these activities appear to be as follows. Number 1, transgenic engineering, or DNA harvesting and manipulation. This is really one of the biggest things I think that could be going on. So this transgenic engineering is where the DNA harvest and manipulate the mitochondrial DNA, detecting specific familial lines for specific types of genes, DNA extraction from male and female, and tissue and blood samples, as well as memory extraction. because these people don't remember this unless they get hypnotherapy. We're now hypothesizing that many, if not all, humans contain what we consider to be extraterrestrial DNA. So we know our DNA is changing. That is pretty well known scientifically. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Kimberly. Our DNA carries our history. Our DNA carries a lot of stuff on it. So to alter that for this unknown purpose, that's kind of disturbing. So claims, okay, now we get into, there were claims from the 1980s regarding people. These were the people that were seeing body parts in amber baths of liquid. These reports, now they make sense because we are growing these organs for transplant purposes. So, anyway, the consciousness psychosociologic studies likely consists of a long-term longitudinal study of humans by studying our cultures, beliefs, morals, and most importantly, the human consciousness. So what does that mean? They're interested in our sociological mindset. They want to know how complex our consciousness is. They also are interested in how our sociological groups interact and what our psychological issues are. And I think that this is to better understand a mode of control. So, things are beings from our planet. And so they're also interested in things or beings from the planet, meaning animals, all different kinds, species of animals. There we get into animal mutilations and the animal dissections that happen a lot. They want to know how these things or beings, how they function, what makes them move, what makes them work. And so, you know, remember back in 3rd grade when you had to dissect a cat or a frog to figure out, you know, hey, this is what the lungs look like, this is what the intestines look like. I think that that's what they're doing with the cow mutilations and the dissections, is just, I think, investigational, you know, just to find out how things work on the inside. So George McKinney says he agrees. Yeah, I do too. And I think that they don't necessarily, they need our species to intermingle with and to create hybrids and to be able to, you know, in the future maybe cohabit the planet. But in order to know how things work and how things tick without destroying the subject, they're looking at animals in that way to try to derive information from that. So, now who are we talking about? Who are these things that are doing this stuff to us? That was in actually part 1 of the Aliens series. Part 1 kind of went over the species, all the different species that have been recorded through time. So if you want to know more about the different species that we're talking about here, go back and watch part 1 on my YouTube channel. But the main ones that we are dealing with are the Greys, the Pleiadians, and the Tall Whites. The Tall Whites are also called the Blonde Nordics. And these Blonde Nordics, they're saying now, could either be like a hybrid of alien and human. So, but also the reptilians. Now, next week's episode is strictly going to be on the reptilians. I want to clue you into some of the research that I'm going to be citing. So if you want to go and watch some YouTube videos about this and kind of get ahead of the game, this is something you've got to see. Jordan Marshall's interview with Robert Bigelow about the reptilians. That's an account that was recorded. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I'm going to go back and look. But it was a group of several families that experienced an encounter with a reptilian, and these families corroborated each other in their experience, and it is very, very interesting. So these species, the Pleiadians and the tall whites and the grays, and of course the reptilians, are the ones that we're talking about that have this agenda involved with our species. So getting back to transgenic DNA, the transgenic beings, and these are hybrids that are created from the process called transgenesis, is a process of introducing an exogenous gene, which is the alien gene, and this is called a transgene, into a living organism, so that the organism will exhibit a new property and transmit that property to its offspring. And this would be kind of hybridizing our species to include that alien gene so that their species can eventually cohabit the planet. Transgenesis can be facilitated by liposomes, plasmid vectors, viral vectors, pronuclear injection, protoplast infusion, and ballistic DNA injection. Transgenic organisms are able to express foreign genes because the genetic code is similar for all organisms. This means that a specific DNA sequence will code for the same protein in all organisms. Due to this similarity in protein sequence, scientists can cut DNA at these common protein points and add other genes. So this may account for a lot of the medical experimentation that's done on abductees that they often recount. And it seems like the agenda program appears to involve the creation of a new race or perhaps a new species utilizing but not limited to human DNA. So our DNA is at risk. Oh my gosh! What do you guys think about this? Hey, Rolando. I think it sounds pretty plausible, actually. And I would like to know what you guys think about this. The thing about all this, there's, decades of research behind all this stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what if it's all a bunch of malarkey? Well, there are too many accounts, there are too many witnesses, there are too many similarities from people who have no idea of the other person it happened to, and their situations are identical. So Sandra says she'll have to watch it later. It froze. I haven't froze on my end, and I hope it didn't freeze for you guys, because this is a lot of really good information. I hope that you guys watch this Jordan Maxwell's interview with Robert Bigelow, and you kind of do a little bit of reading about the reptilian agenda before next Monday, so that maybe you guys could ask me questions about what the reptilian agenda is and kind of understand a bit more. Because here's the deal. It's either real or it's not, and that's 50-50. And that's pretty big percentage, like 50-50. If you think about it, it's either real or it's not. And all the scientific evidence and all the accounts and all that stuff that kind of lean towards it, it's kind of looking like the 50% that this is probably real. So I'm going to sign off for the night. If you guys enjoy these Monday night live streams, share that, hit that share button right now and share this with your friends. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel and go back and watch some of those past episodes on my YouTube channel. It's under the playlist of Facebook Live. And so just go to that playlist and you'll be able to go back and find any episode that you want to see. Also, if you're interested in a psychic reading, I'll leave a link to my website in the comments section, and you can buy a personalized reading if you like. And then don't forget, next week is going to be the episode on the reptilian agenda. You guys have a fabulous week. Kisses from Kentucky. And I will see you next Monday for another Monday Night Live. And if you play Fun Friday, I will see you this Friday for another Fun Friday episode. See you guys.